Okay, so we got to the stage where we've semi-auto trading now. So we've got the setup already in there. We've got the entries that we can just drag and click. However, at some stage you'll say, well, actually I don't want to do that all the way through. I just want a really quick report. So then we need to just change the setup rules, because at the moment the setup rules is just click on the setup. So for bearish engulfing, for example, we've got this action of pausing the backtest. So all we need to do now is we've got an exit rule or an entry rule. So instead we can change it across. So if we go to entry rules, we've got our this is a bearish engulfing, so we'll drag our bearish engulfing rule over, pop it in there, and that's what happens when it triggers. So it automatically runs through. So that's that one. Then we're going to save that. Let's just click that on there, save the rule. So I've changed it now. Do I want to reload it? Yes. Now it's a bit funny, you do have to reboot the system once you've done this, I seem to remember. Okay, so that's rule saved. We'll leave that alone for a moment. Let's go on and change the other one whilst we're here. So we want to go into setup rules, bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing. Let's open that, and then again we want the entry rules up here to change. So this is the bullish one, so we want the bullish engulfing. Pop that in there and save rules. Yes. Okay, so there we go, all saved. So we can close these off. I would suggest you close the system off and reboot it. Okay, so I've closed it down, closed everything down of this, and rebooted the product. I say the product, Naked Markets completely. Now, I saved and reloaded. So I'd saved the back test and then just reloaded the back test straight on here as I'd saved it. So next button to press is this one, and woohoo, off we go. So now it's automatically taking the trade set, setting everything up. It's automatically, there's a couple of wins there as it's run down, a loss, and so on. And so you can run this as long as until your heart's content. You've got loads of trades kicking in there. Let's close those out. This is, tell you what, jolly good. It's up 8% already. Okay, it's run through to August, so it's been running for a while. But you can see how things now develop, and just leave it to be. And you can run it as long as you like. You can pause it. You can do what you like with it. You can run it right the way through. We can just leave this on a continuous, which I'm going to pause the video and let that run. Okay, so completed the backtest after some time. I walked away from the desk. I was busy doing some other things. Come back and just looking at what's actually happened here. Okay, so we managed to lose about 87,000 on that over the 20 years that it'd been running for. Now, there's lots to bear in account. It's the very rough version of this, and this is where the benefit of backtesting comes into play. You can see what it looks like over time. I've saved this so we can go and have a look at the stats and look at the source import from a backtest and engulfing hourly test. That's what it was, and we can hopefully at this stage look at some stats. It might take a little while to load. So here we go, it's loaded itself. Right, so down 87%. Now you see a lot of it, I was watching it, and a lot of the main drawdown came in the very early years here. It suddenly started to really unwind itself. Let's see if I can scroll this up a little. Okay, you can see the years as I'm flashing through them here, but actually the first year it was up for a couple of percent, then 20%, down 40% in 2006. A real bad year for it for whatever reason. I know the financial crashes really were 2007 onwards, but this obviously crashed as a test. And when you start looking at this, you think, well, what could I have done to change things? Well, first thing is to look at the timing analysis and look at where the money was really made. And if this gives you some sort of idea in terms of the percentages, this is the sort of one of the early steps. You can say, well, actually look at the losing trades at 7 o'clock at night far exceeded, as did a lot of these. So obviously a lot of false moves here. In fact, I mean, for the most of the time, it didn't have a great time. Obviously, with that higher loss rate, it didn't help things at all. But these far exceeded the losses versus the wins. So you could take that off. I mean, overall, it hasn't done good. So it's the early steps saying, well, okay, I can start then analysing these chart trades in more detail. Ironically, although it's at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I suppose it's with the Japanese sort of markets running, etc., it didn't do a fare as bad here. It's how we can adjust then. You can look at the strategy, go back, make adjustments. Well, 50 moving average, different times, maybe different aspects. I'll leave that to you to play with. See if you can play anything with it. It's a good tester for you to go backwards and forwards with. For sure, we would have been bust in the end. Let's just put the Monte Carlo on it. It didn't make us bust immediately, but the way those we would have been expectancy of I mean, the win rate was only 43%. That's a key thing we're looking here. Actually, if you look at overall stats here, so it's only a 43% win rate. Maybe we should have been looking at bigger targets. I only put a 1.2 on there. So lots of things you could do. You could look for a 2 to 1 and see if that would have made a lot of difference. Change the times. It's all about gradual analysis. The good thing is it doesn't take too long when you do this. If I'd sat to do 20 years of backtesting manually, it would have probably taken me 20 years. If I'd got a year a week, that's 20 weeks. It's nearly it's closing in on a lot of weeks, isn't it? It's nearly a half a year, a third of the year taking just for one currency. And then I've got to go back and retest it, so you can really see the power of the system. Okay, we'll leave this video here. So it's just really applying it, looking at the stats once you've done it, and then from that point on, it's honing it, seeing what things you can change. Looking at, I mean, you can run the whole same thing in with a different profit target and just let it run. You can look at reducing the hours it's running for. You could do a bit of manual back testing on it. It may be that it's just no good. Something like that gives such a inverted reward. Might be looking to see, well, actually, does it play better the other way? Do I wait for the break? So if I've got a bearish or bullish engulfing, do wait for it to be broken against the trade with the trade, and then put a buy stop on the other side of the trade to catch it the other way. For example, it wasn't a bearish engulfing, but if you just bear in mind, there's a bullish engulfing, not quite. In fact, can you see one when you want one? There you go, bearish engulfing. I mean, not in this case for sure, but it never won either. Over time, perhaps it might have won. Depends on how much the spreads would have caught it at periods like this. It might have actually stopped it out. Anyway, it's there's the tool. A little bit more details. I will pop some more videos on here, different filters, etc., that you can do in due course.